course, we're having some funky. Here we go. We're live. What's up, guys? Welcome to the F5 Report. Monday morning, beautiful day here in dirty Jersey, and we're joined by my friend Adam Maggio, also in New Jersey, way north in New Jersey. So we're representing the entire state this morning. Adam, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Hope all's well, and hope everybody is safe.
Yes, sir. So, Adam, you are first of all, for some people that don't know you, had on your background. I mean, you're an amazing sales recruiter, amazing sales trainer, builder of sales teams around the country, and in this, and I know you've been making all kinds of different maneuvers, but especially with the Corona thing going on, what's different? What's better? What's worse? What's different from where you were 8 weeks ago?
Quite honestly, we're just a whole hell of a lot more busier. Obviously we've always used technology to some degree with sales, but obviously with COVID kind of hitting us, from behind here, we had to quite quickly adapt. But luckily, a lot of the people that were, knowing that you were going to have to move toward technology anyway, they were prepared for it. So, it's not so much just being great at sales now, it's being great at sales and being able to, move and utilize the technology. So if anything, quite honestly, we've been a lot busier. Just me personally, typically when I have a lot of downtime between driving to meetings and things like that, it was, not gone wasted, but let's face it, you're not directly in front of a client, where now we're in front of one client. And then when the hour's up, we're in front of the other client. And on our side, we're adjusting even to that, having 8 back-to-back meetings, you forget little things, like lunch and stuff like that. So, it's just one of those things I think that kind of hit us. And what we're just seeing is things like today, guys, face-to-face, really the way the brain works is there's really no difference. A couple things. One is when people connect via video, it's almost as if they know each other, right? Yeah. Meaning that if they've already seen a little bit of content about you and you're in sales, there's a certain level of trust that's already been built. And I think the way the brain works, I don't know all the specifics, but there's really no difference between us talking in person and talking through a video, other than really the ability to shake a hand. So,
yeah, no, and listen, I think the coolest thing that's happened to me is with all these Zoom. I mean, I know you're on Zoom all day long. I'm on Zoom all day long. The coolest thing that's happened to me is that the people that I think normally it's like you would have never met them in person, and you would have never met them without having to go to lunch or to get coffee or to meet up somewhere. Like I'm having these coffee meetups with people that I didn't even think, were capable of using Zoom. You know what I mean? Like serious attorneys and hard money guys and lenders and investors. Like all of a sudden Zoom is like something that people had to adapt to, and now it's like we do a video chat, right? And it's normal, and it becomes a good conversational piece.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, Joe. I mean, what I'm finding is that the world is flattened, and I'm finding myself connecting with people that I really would have never connected with before. Just like today, obviously, very easy, flip open the screen, no 2-hour drive to the house or anything like that. But even just across a broad spectrum, probably, I don't know, 75% of my business right now is not done even so much in this time zone. So it's pretty wild how it works. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it really shakes out. I think it is going, I don't imagine that people are going to return to the work site the same way for sure. I do envision a lot of larger corporations having much smaller home offices, because I think people that can manage their own time well, are going to be the ones that really are going to be able to take advantage of this. For some people, they have kids and dogs and things like that at home due to the COVID issue, but it's look, every day is not rosy red. I'm not going to lie to you, man. There's days where you want to put your fist through the wall 1 minute and the next minute you're smiling. So I'm looking forward to the challenge. I really am.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, and I think what's resonating with a lot of people is if you're self-driven, now all of a sudden you have it just feels like you have more time on your hand. I mean, I feel like 24-hour day is twice as long as it used to be. There's no, and I didn't even commute very much. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's getting in the car, it's dropping the kids off, it's all the little motions that happen to add up to taking a huge piece out of your day. Where now it's like you wake up, you go for a walk, you eat breakfast, boom, you're working. Nothing changes. It's you're right in front of the screen and you're doing business.
Yeah, absolutely.
At an early time, right?
Yep.
I know you're going like 18-hour days right now, right?
Yeah, I'm not proud of it. It's actually a conversation I had to have with myself beginning this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like any entrepreneur, guys. You know, you're even heck starting your business is one thing, but even 15 years later, and you're still cranking, and you can get really caught up in just burying a ton of hours. And I had to look at it for my own intent purposes, and I just realized that what was going on, I couldn't continue. So I'm trying to adjust in terms of like just as committed as I am to the work schedule, I've got to be just as committed as I am to the break schedule. And if you don't, you will fry out. I mean, you will fry out. And luckily enough, some of us can kind of catch on, sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure. So, I mean, it's a good thing that you caught up, by the way. I mean, I'm glad and getting Adam back in a little bit. You got a haircut. I'm jealous. You're kind of a dick for doing that, and I still got this crazy stuff going on. I can't not wear a hat now for the next however long it takes us to get out of here. Tell us a little bit about the Max Out thing that you've started. So, Max Out Agency, what does that look like? I know you made a transition. What's the opportunities behind that thing?
Yeah, no, Max Out Agency has been a wonderful, wonderful transition and partnership with Ed Milet. And obviously the word max out, if you follow Ed on his stuff, you'd see that's his thing there. So yeah, what we've done is partner together, and what we're doing is built a platform that we are leveraging to help really middle-class America, make sure they're secure in their retirement. Right now, more than ever, I think what you're finding is that people didn't prepare for this. Even people that were prepared for this, I don't think were prepared to the extent. And what ends up happening is, we want to take this time to really take people out there that are working hard, that have worked hard, and make sure that all their finances are really, secure when it comes time to either retire or have something untimely happen, in their life. And, it's been a wonderful partnership. You're going to see a lot more about it. We're collaborating with, great people just as yourself, Joe, even at a high level. And really, the goal is to help 20 million families. The goal is to help 20 million families. And if we can do that, we can achieve our goals as well.
So what are those things that you see stand out as opportunities, like when you meet with a family like that and middle-class America and you see, a quick financial analysis, maybe give us some hypotheticals. I mean, I can't use exact examples, obviously, but, where do you see people falling short and not being able to plan?
Well, yeah, so it's a neglected area, right? So what ends up happening is people that have accumulated wealth, they're hunted down by, your top, Morgan Stanleys of the world and things like that, because they have a ton of assets, and they're what's considered, a higher end client. But that same level of care, financial care, financial wellness has been neglected, in the sub 100,000 income range. And it's not even to say, even sub $250,000 income range. It's been truly neglected. And it's a big thing in the workplace. You hear a lot about wellness itself, trying to control medical, healthcare costs, but financial wellness really helps control a lot of the mental aspects of like, I hear the saying money isn't important, but the reality of it is, money does pay a mortgage, and money does allow people to have time and freedom and things like that. Money, I do believe, does make you happy to a certain extent, but I believe that, having going from like survival to just stability is probably one of the hardest things. And, that middle class has been neglected for a while, and it really doesn't take a lot. It only takes a few $100 a month, really, depending on how old you are, to really be set up, just the same way someone that has a ton of wealth does. I think people think they need a lot of money and sitting in the bank in order to retire. They don't. What they really need is a lot of income coming in, right?
So cash flow versus just cash stack.
100%, 100%. And it leads back into a lot of what you even do, Joe, with the real estate and all that good stuff, with the rental properties and things like that. You don't need a ton of money coming in to pay bills. If you look at, someone wants $1 million house that's $6,000 a month. Someone wants a nice car that's another $1,000 for the month. They want to go out and have, discretionary income. To get $10,000 a month of income coming in, as long as you're prepared for it, is really not that hard to do. I think the perception is you need a ton of money in the bank, but if you had $5 million in the bank and you're being paid 1%, what does that look like cash flow wise? Right? It doesn't. So having real estate that has, income coming in, and other financial products that have income coming in really doesn't take a lot for an average person to be able to purely live, a lifestyle that they deserve, after a certain period of time.
So what do you think's missing? Do you think it's like, it sounds like everything else. Like, are people just lacking a plan to begin with, but just don't know which way to turn, so they're kind of just going at it on their own?
Yeah, what ends up happening is obviously people lack plan, preparation, right? But it's not, a lot of times it's not just the lack of preparation, it's the lack of knowing needing to know what they don't know, if that makes sense. And unfortunately for most people, right, what happens is they wait till it's too late, or they wait and they invest in the things that are dictated by the stock market and the timing of it. And that's cool. Like if you're young, and you're 25 years old and you want to roll the dice and some, cryptocurrencies and all this other stuff out there, you can do that. But those assets are subject to major, in the stock market, you have your ups and downs, and you retired last year, right? You're not really sitting too hot. So the idea here is that put it something that's safe and secure and that's protected against the stock market, things that you have a little bit more control of, whether it's an insurance product, a financial product, or real estate. I mean, real estate's one of the all-time leading, everyone that's got real wealth happens to have it in real estate. So, just being properly prepared and having an opportunity to hear about the education piece you need is really and being open to it. I think everybody, like when I was young, I always thought times would be great, and we have those time periods where it's like, whoa, wait a minute, and I think, ever since 9/11, there's been a lot of insecurity, right? And with COVID, that insecurity has changed. Years ago when 9/11 happened, I think for me, at least my generation, that was the first, like, oh my God, something really could happen. But we were worried about someone walking around with like a bomb underneath a puffy jacket. But now that insecurity's changed from that to you're worried about someone that's like literally sneezed on an apple. So, everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to wash itself out. I do believe that. And I do believe things are going to happen very quickly. But the reality of it is, things have changed. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But the people that are giving value such as this, I mean, I've been watching this every day since you've launched this. And it's just getting a variety of people on here and seeing just their little takes and their little maneuvers and little nuggets that you kind of pick up and implement have been huge for me. And I see entrepreneurs getting together like this, Joe. I really do. It's quite amazing what happens when, stuff really does hit the fan, and, who comes together and really makes stuff happen. It's entrepreneurs, it's doctors, and it's nurses.
Oh, I mean, we'll touch on that for a second. A lot of friends that are in that field. And I mean, they are, people have been saying, there's signs in our neighborhood, thank our heroes. And I mean, they truly are. Can you imagine, knowing what they know and watching people die every day and having to go and help them anyway? That first of all, I mean, I think is one of the most honorable things that you can do. And for some people for those that are watching, like they might not realize you're in Hoboken, right? I mean, you're 150 yards from New York City across the river, right? And Hoboken got hit pretty hard, right?
Yeah, we got hit hard, and ways that you wouldn't expect, right? Because it's like hearing about you're going to get a big snowstorm tomorrow, and then all of a sudden your house is buried in snow. But this time it was, hey, there's a virus going around, and the little things that you take for granted, just the ability to walk into the supermarket, pick up a quick couple things, and then walk out. That's changed. The dynamics of small business, it's gone. Like there's no small business open whatsoever. I mean, most food you get is delivered, and it doesn't stress me out, absolutely. But when I start to think about really the nurses and the doctors and what they do, that just levels me. I mean, I have zero excuses to complain about anything because I don't know if I would have what it takes. As a matter of fact, I don't have what it takes to do what they do every single day. And what's amazing to me is the collaboration, even in the heart of all this, what a lot of people don't see if you're not, in this tri-state area. 7 o'clock at night, this place lights up, and I mean every single person is hanging out of their door, smacking pots, smacking pans, literally welcoming the nurses and the doctors coming on to the 7 o'clock shift. And it sends chills through your spine, man. It really does. So.
No, I mean, it really is. I can't say enough about it. I mean, we go to war and everybody says that, our soldiers are our heroes, and they are, absolutely. But we're at war right now, and these guys are on the front line. So, I mean, we can't thank them enough. I want to shift. First of all, thanks. I got a couple comments coming in on the personal side. Guys, for some reason, my personal page, the comments aren't swiping over to StreamYard. I think this new service, is starting to try to keep up with things. But what up, DM? I know the technology is nuts, isn't it, Drew? What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. And if you do have your comments and questions, guys, post them in the comment section below. We're going to get into some sales talk here in a second. Any question you have about recruiting, about sales, about training, about management, we got about 10 minutes left. We got some time to talk to Adam here. You can drop your comments in. My guy, Matt, is still going on the page and finding them live and dropping them in here for us. So we'll know if you ask the questions. But I want to get into that for a second, Adam, because, I mean, you at one point had hundreds, thousands. How many people did you have working for you at one point in your sales team?
Oh, geez. I mean, directly, I had about 150. Indirectly, roughly 2,000. So
2,000
yep.
sales. So a team of a 2,000 person sales team, which you basically recruited most of them. You put a lot of them in that seat. You gave them the training.
Recruited well over 2,000 people. Yeah.
Nice. So tell us a little bit about that process, because I think for some people, like I talk to guys all the time that are operators, guys and girls that are operating, and they're like, man, I need a salesperson, right? Yep. And I always tell them, like, okay, well, get the salesperson. In fact, get 2 or 3, right? Can you talk to us a little bit about, like, the volume and what it takes to be successful, and what the attrition rates look like, and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah. So and right now I see a lot of people that are unemployed, and guys, I can't begin to tell you, there is the profession of sales. This is going to be something where you're going to see over the next 5 to 10 years is going to completely take off. And if you can master the skill of sales, and I'll just touch lightly on it, on recruiting and training sales. But first off, sales typically comes with a very negative, tone to it, because you kind of envision, walking onto that car lot and, just someone sitting there waiting to get you. That world of sales is gone, long gone. Yeah. Best people right now in sales are people that are like teachers, are people like social workers, people that actually sit down, take the time to listen to what the client needs and give them only what they need and not oversell. And that's a dynamic that's a lot of people, if you're playing the long game, you need to have that, in there, because if you're just there to make a buck on somebody, you're going to get washed out. But in terms of finding, the right type of individuals and hiring them, the crazy part about it is you can't profile somebody based on a background. Typically someone in sales that comes on and does very well did not have a background in sales, because if they did, they were leaving one, sales job for another. There's typically a reason why, and it's because they're not doing that well. Those skill sets that make you well in one, position will be the same skill sets that make you, well in another position. But what I find is that you have to find people with heart, right? You have to have people that, can structure their own time well. We always talk about creating the illusion of structure. When you come from being a W-2, where you have to clock in and clock out, and you have to let them know when you're going on lunch, and you have to let them know when you want your 2-week vacation, what ends up happening is you generally follow the rules. Then when you get into this independent contractor, quasi business owner, which is a great step to becoming a true business owner, is sales. When you have to manage your own time, you don't honor that. So it's the weird balance of kind of mentally trying to figure out why you do that. But if you can master that, you can master anything.
That's so true, man. It really is just about being responsible for yourself, self-driven, and paying attention to your numbers. But you glazed over something which I think is a big factor right there, which is sales it's the precipice that leads you into becoming a true business owner. Talk a little bit about that a second, because you have a really good theory that I love, where you call everybody on the team, a certain thing.
Yeah, I like to talk about the entrepreneur part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of people, right? They're either an employee or they're either a business owner, but there's this whole new, it's almost in its own field. And I didn't invent the word entrepreneur, but basically people can go, and maybe they don't have access to the capital or the know-how to start a business, right? Or want to take that major risk in running a business, but they also know they're not meant to be an employee. So what we call them is entrepreneurs. And if you're a business owner, that is the person that you want to find, because an entrepreneur is going to be the connection that you, as a business owner, we tend to work on very big picture things, and we tend to be very horrible at little picture things, right? But having a good entrepreneur in place, and if you're someone that's looking to be an entrepreneur, there is, I mean, my personal network, and Joe, you like, there's not a person, we could find somebody for a role if they're willing to do the things and own it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Becoming a CEO of their own business within a company. And I believe that piece, I believe that's the greatest job security in the world, because I know that people that are out there that are running successful businesses, that find entrepreneurs, the entrepreneurs essentially call the shots, right?
Yeah.
They take a little bit less of a risk, but listen, if you're a great entrepreneur, there's not a business owner out there that wouldn't fight to keep you or wouldn't fight to have you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a huge stepping stone, and it's probably one of the most balanced ones, where you're not taking all the risk, you're not taking all the reward, but you're sitting there and you're making a good entrepreneur, man. You can go out there and you can prove your value, no matter what value level that is, whether it's $100 grand or $1 million a year. A smart and sharp, savvy business owner will find a way to keep you. I promise that. And if they don't,
100%.
you come see Joe or me.
100%. And let me say this. All great business owners are always hiring. I don't care what the cycle is. I don't care what the economy is. We're always chasing great talent, and I'll find a seat for the talent. You know what I mean? I would rather go that way, because you start to find you solve internal problems quicker. People that are problem solvers, that understand how to fix things, and without asking a million questions, and just taking responsibility. Right? If you're that person, there's always going to be a seat for you at a high level organization, because people need that kind of fixer. People need that kind of solutionist that's out there, right? So
100%.
And that's what a salesperson is, right? If you get to be a great salesperson, you can really be a great sales team manager or leader, sales leader, like we call them inside of our organization, right? But like you could easily grow the better you are at quickly solving problems.
100%. It is the step to becoming an entrepreneur. It's the step to owning a business, because what I find is most people that go into straight owning a business that aren't good in sales, they're going to be out of business very shortly. And that's why there's such a high failure rate among people that start businesses, because they forget one thing: nothing happens until money exchanges hands, right? If you have enough money exchanging hands, you can figure out the back end of building a business. But you just kind of go in there and expect people to show up at your doorstep. Those types of businesses, typically franchise based, they're fun. They're just not for me, and you have to learn the ability to go out and acquire a customer. And people always ask, like, how do you do that? You take a pool of people that are your target audience, and you find out what they really need, right? Not what you want to give them, right? What do they really need? And then just fill that void, and, literally back up what you said you were going to do. And listen, this day and age, people can Google any company, any name, find out anything about anybody. You get a good track record, again, you're indispensable.
Just follow through, right? Just make sure you deliver. Find out what the person's wants and needs are, address them, deliver on them, and then make them happy after the fact, right? It sounds super simple, but I think so many people miss some of these points, right? That what we're talking about here is developing rapport. I can't figure out what Adam wants and needs if I'm not asking the right questions, right? I call them asking better questions, asking bigger questions. Like, the deeper I get, the more I figure out what your needs are, and then I can actually fill that void.
Yeah. And one thing I think that's amazing, and I had a good a chat with Mark Evans, who most people I'm sure know. If you don't, look him up as well. He's a great friend of Joe and I, and a mentor as well. But we had this discussion on just, the day of the internet gurus is gone, right? So, if you're a guy or gal that's sitting there parked, is taking a picture, next to a Lamborghini you don't own, or waving cash around on the internet, yeah, you may have looked cool for a little bit, but the reality of it is the smackdown's coming, and it's happening, and people are getting exposed. And what they're finding is for people like you guys that actually are doing stuff, not just selling stuff. I think it's going to be I think you're going to see a lot of people drop off real quickly. And for those of us that have been putting in the work, and not maybe have been so flashy, now they're starting to see, who are the real people doing real business. And it's like anything else, that if you're playing the long game and doing the right thing, you're going to win.
What amazes me the most, and I listen, I don't pray on anybody's downfall, and I wish everybody the best, and I want to see them be successful. But what amazed me the most of all that is just how damn quickly it happened, right? When 2 weeks deep into this thing, you saw the gurus go ghost, right?
Yep.
They ran out of ad budgets. They got their Lambo repossessed, and it's like next thing you know, like the real people are coming through. The people that are on here every day that are continuing to hustle, continuing to grind, because true leaders know how to pivot, right? They pivot, they make corrections, they fix it, they get better, they change their revenue streams. I think that you're going to see, like you said, there's a lot of people who are out there who are the quasi gurus who are teaching stuff, also operating businesses and fixing problems in a daily basis, hourly basis, right? Those are the ones you're going to see survive and ultimately be the face of a lot of the social stuff.
Absolutely.
So guys, one last shot here, a couple minutes left. If you want to hop on, we'll even take you on live if you want. Pat posted the links inside all the groups. If you want to hop on, talk sales, talk recruiting, talk voluntary benefits, whatever it is that you might want to wrap with Adam, give you a chance to hop on live if you want. Just click the link and Matt will let you in. Adam, anything I didn't cover?
No, really. If anything, Joe, I appreciate the consistency on your end. And this is kind of ties into the whole guru thing, right? You'll find people are one day they're doing this, one day they're doing that, but they're not consistent in showing up and having things every single day like this. And just seeing that, every day the quality of people you're bringing onto the show and just the consistency. I mean, as far as even just the time of it, I know every morning, 8 a.m., I could turn on my Facebook and, come on and watch someone new. That's I can grab a nugget or two off of. And I think that's an amazing piece. I think entrepreneurs are going to be your new heroes. It is not meant to, by any stretch of the imagination, discount what a police, fire, veteran, anyone in the medical field does. I believe other than them, the entrepreneurs are going to be the new heroes as well, because they're going to be what's going to help actually rebuild the country. For sure.
100%. They're going to be the fixers in this time. I mean, there's a lot of small businesses suffering. There's a lot of other businesses and business owners that are there to help them out, that are there to, financially support them, create opportunity, joint venture. I think there's going to be a lot of that going on in the next 6 months in order to give people a hand up. But ultimately, I think it makes us all stronger. This thing makes us more effective, makes us more efficient, forces us to do things that we probably should have been doing all along. Bottom line is, and you mentioned this show, like, I only do this to keep selfishly to keep myself consistent, right? Make sure every morning I'm up and ready to rock and dressed, and believe it or not, I took a shower even though I got a hat on, but ready to go at minimum by 8 a.m. Right? It's a selfish thing, but it also gives me an opportunity to have these awesome conversations, interact, and bring value to the people watching. So, guys, if you found value in today's video, all we ask you to do is share it on a couple platforms. Adam, anything that people can reach you? People will reach out if they want to find out more about the Max Out Agency and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it's like pretty much I would just go to my Instagram seems to be the most the popular feed there. But yeah, just go to Adam Maggio Anchor on Facebook here. You can just connect with me and be happy to answer any questions that you do have. And I really wish you all well. Understand that. Although I show up, Joe shows up on a call like this, and we're having a great old time. Just rest assured, guys. Like if you're going through shit, keep shoveling. There's literally day by day, hour by hour. I have my highs and I have my lows. And I just find that keeping things simple, taking those breaks. And one of my other mentors, he basically, instead of working out for 1 hour, he said, do 3 20-minute workouts throughout the day. It'll keep the energy levels high and stay off the news. I'm not going to get into politics or news or anything like that. But listen, there's so much misinformation going on out there, all the way from people that we once trusted to family members saying one thing, a friend saying another. I've just made a decision myself to just, just look at facts, but not swallow myself into the Facebook hole and, just get caught up in all that. And I encourage you to do the same thing as well. So, and I appreciate you having me on here for sure.
Love it, man. So here you go, guys. Stay positive, stay focused, keep pushing forward, stay off the news, stay off the social, except for 8 a.m. every morning, 8 a.m. to 8:30. You check out the F5 report. If you guys have watching the replay of this, post your questions below. Adam and I will be monitoring. We'll be paying attention. We'll be offering some suggestions and some advice through the comment section going forward. So, guys, have an amazing day. Adam, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys. Appreciate it.